I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will.
Canelo lands good punches. I think Canelo could hurt Crawford. Crawford's, first time in that division and jumping 2 divisions.
No way against lesser competition. He knocks him the hell out. Canelo doesn't finish these guys, and he doesn't look good beating them. Shout out to the judges. The judges make Canelo look good.
Andre Ward highlights Terence Crawford's reputation as one of boxing's deadliest closers, explaining why that trait could seriously trouble Canelo Alvarez. Ward points out that once Crawford detects any sign of weakness, he doesn't let opponents breathe, pouring on crisp, well-timed combinations until the fight is his. That relentless finishing instinct, Ward argues, separates Crawford from most elite fighters. Against Canelo, even a brief lapse in defense or stamina could open the door for Crawford to turn the tide dramatically and potentially end the contest.
I'm going with Terence Crawford. Big weight jump, a dangerous fight, but somebody's got to prove to me that they can break Terence Crawford's will and that he can't figure it out against you. It ain't no disrespect toward Canelo, but I've said this the last couple of years. I'm not betting against Terence Crawford against nobody right now. You got to show me that you can beat him.
Andre Ward shares genuine respect for both Terence Crawford and Canelo Alvarez as their showdown nears. He stresses that this isn't just a paycheck fight, it's a collision where 2 accomplished champions are willing to risk everything they've built. Ward applauds the bravery required to stake legacies when either man could easily avoid the challenge. He believes these rare matchups elevate boxing by giving fans an authentic clash of greatness, a moment where skill, pride, and history converge. For Ward, the bout reflects the very essence of the sport and the commitment both fighters have shown to testing themselves at the highest level.
Man, what's up, fight fans? It's official. I'm gonna be the 3rd man ringside calling the Canelo Alvarez Terence Crawford fight September 13th at Allegiant Stadium. I'm excited to be a part of this event. I'm excited to be ringside calling this great card and this great matchup. Historic event for many, many reasons for both fighters. Super middleweight supremacy on the line, legacies on the line, your namesake and reputation is on the line. And I just take my hat off to both of these fighters for putting everything on the line late in their careers the way that they are. This is rare, and it's becoming more and more rare in boxing. Guys don't want this kind of smoke. They really don't want to face another counterpart that can ruin everything that they've built. And it really don't matter how much money's on the table for a lot of guys. They'd rather take a lesser risk for less money than to risk everything like these 2 fighters are doing. So I take my hat off to them. And I also want to give a shout out to Turki Al-Sheikh for all that he's done to put this fight on. Dana White for all that he's done to put this fight on. And one more person that stays out the way and you don't really hear a lot about, but that has done a lot to make this fight happen as well. And that's my brother, Nick Khan. He just gets stuff done, man. And I want to thank him and shout him out as well for getting this done. So I see y'all in Vegas, man. Part of me wants to be home watching this fight in street clothes, but I got to take the street clothes off. I got work to do. I got to put that suit on, get ringside with John and Max, and call this fight like I know we can. Huge event, huge implications, historic night, and I'm happy to be a part. I hope to see you in Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. If not, man, tune in live on Netflix.
Robert Garcia offered a candid take on Canelo Alvarez, noting that the Mexican star hasn't looked quite as sharp in recent performances. He observed a decline in both hand speed and footwork, which makes Canelo appear less threatening than he did at his peak. For a fighter like Terence Crawford, who excels at exploiting timing and precision, that detail matters. Garcia suggested these slight dips create a genuine opening for Crawford to impose his rhythm. If Canelo can't rediscover his earlier crispness, Crawford's quickness, angles, and adaptability could become fight-changing assets. Garcia's remarks echo a growing concern among analysts that Canelo may be slipping from his prime, giving Crawford a window to seize control.
Jumping 2 divisions where he only had 1 fight at 154 and didn't look his best either. So there's a lot of questions, about that. And that's why a lot of people think Canelo is going to knock out Crawford. But I'm probably one of the only ones that I do give Crawford a chance. Yeah. I think Crawford could pull it off. Crawford is very talented. He's very fast. He's very smart in the ring. So I think a perfect fight, Crawford could pull off a decision.
Okay.
I think he could win a decision. I don't pick him. I wouldn't put my money on him winning because it's a very dangerous, risky fight, especially with Canelo being so strong. But Canelo's last few performances, he's looked slow, flat-footed, looking for one punch at a time. And if that's the Canelo that fights Crawford could win a decision. Crawford could outbox him, could outsmart him, could land 3-4 punch combinations and move and win a decision. So do I give Crawford a chance? 100% think Crawford could pull it off. Would I put my money on it? Probably not, but I do give him a chance.
Yeah, good stuff. Look, Robert, appreciate you taking time to speak to me. I appreciate you letting me in the gym today. Always a pleasure. And hopefully be catching up sometime soon.
Thanks
appreciate
for coming.
it. Thank you.
Very
Cheers.
much.
Teddy Atlas, one of boxing's most respected analysts, has voiced caution over Canelo. Alvarez's preparation for the looming showdown with Terence Crawford. Atlas believes Canelo may be pushing beyond the limits of a healthy camp, noting that the inclusion of Jaron Ennis, a young, explosive welterweight, in sparring could prove unnecessary and even counterproductive. He stressed that training smart matters just as much as training hard, and warned that overextending in camp can leave a fighter flat by fight night. In Atlas's view, trying to fine-tune every detail might actually drain Canelo's reserves, potentially giving a sharp and opportunistic opponent like Crawford a crucial opening.
So I avoided that. I would bring in specific sparring partners that knew how to be a sparring partner. Yeah, if I wanted something, I went over to him before the day started. Listen, I want you to do this. All right. I'm paying him. I have the right to do that. I want you to move more today. I want you to, I want you to press him a lot. You know what? There was a fight I was getting a guy ready for, and I was worried about the first couple rounds. So I said, when the bell rings, I want you to rush out of the corner and go right after him. And I was, obviously I had my guy ready because we were getting ready for that kind of fight plan, for the possibility that the opponent would come out that way. So I wouldn't look to get a boots Ennis. I mean, nothing wrong with that's what they want. That's fine. And I get it, the style, the size, the length. I understand. It's not a bad pick from that point of view. But for me, again, I never go down that road because I got my guy getting ready for a fight. I don't want to leave it in the gym. I don't want to get into that kind of war in the gym. No, I want to have control of all aspects of what the hell I'm doing in the gym to get ready for one night. So no, I wouldn't do that. I'd get the right spar partners. If I thought I had a guy, I get guys that my guy could work with, and if he was having an off day, he could kind of, have his way and do what he wanted with the guy. I'd have one of them. I'd probably have 3 guys, sometimes 4, depending on where we were at, with the calendar when the fight was coming up.
Building on his earlier caution, Teddy Atlas suggested that Canelo Alvarez's hardest rounds may already be unfolding in the gym. He argued that Canelo's sparring sessions appear so intense, they risk draining the very sharpness he'll need on fight night. Atlas noted that fighters have a finite tank, both physically and mentally, and if too much of it is burned in camp, the result is a flatter, slower version under the lights. He likened it to leaving your best fight in the gym instead of peaking at the moment that matters. Should that happen, Atlas believes Terence Crawford's crisp timing and relentless pace could capitalize on a Canelo who isn't at full throttle when the bell rings.
And a lot has been taken out of you in the gym. You left it in the gym. And we heard that Jaron Boots Ennis was getting the best of Canelo Alvarez in his sparring sessions. That he possibly gave him a black eye. We saw the knot on his head. That was just a week ago. The fight is next week, next Saturday. So 3 weeks out from the fight, and you having this hard sparring sessions with Jaron Boots Ennis, who wants to prove a point. Leave no doubt. Jaron Ennis is going into those sparring sessions not just to be a sparring partner, but to gauge where he stands against a legend and a Hall of Famer and a superstar like Canelo Alvarez to understand where he can get better and understand that he can actually compete on that level. So make no mistake about it. Jaron Boots Ennis wasn't in there to lay down. Now, he had a job to do. He was there for a specific reason, which is to give Canelo looks that Terence Crawford could possibly give him. But you best believe in those sparring sessions, he gonna give what he have. He gonna test the waters to see where he stands, right? Not just to help Canelo, not just to be a dummy. There's a reason you bring in a high-profile fighter. And so Teddy Atlas believes this is a huge mistake on Canelo Alvarez's part, because now he has possibly left it in the gym. And now he got to go into battle with Terence Crawford. So it's like having two fights in a matter of 3 weeks. And your body's going to show the wear and tear.
A key storyline in the lead up to this fight is Canelo Alvarez's enduring punching power. Even in nights where he appears slower or less mobile, the threat of his heavy hands forces rivals into survival mode, prioritizing defense over any real offense. Many of Canelo's distance fights reflect this dynamic. Not a lack of finishing, instinct, but opponents refusing to open up. Terence Crawford, though, is cut from a different cloth. He has built a resume dismantling cautious fighters through steady feints, well-timed traps, and sudden offensive surges. If Canelo banks only on raw power to keep Crawford respectful, that approach could prove insufficient against a technician who thrives on turning an opponent's patience into his own opportunity.
And no, for sure. I mean, we all see that fucking Canelo got power. That's the same reason why, at the same time, Canelo ends up going a distance with a lot of these guys, because these guys are just on survivor mode, you know? They're not trying to fight back. They're not trying to win. They're just surviving, which is hard to knock somebody out that's just surviving, you know? So I feel like Canelo's power is definitely there. I just think it's just a matter of how Crawford reacts when he feels it, you know? Is he gonna be one of those survivors, or is he gonna actually, you know?
No, I think Crawford will go out on his shield. I think he's gonna fight and go out like a warrior.
At the same time, I feel like he does that, then it gives Canelo a chance to be able to clip him, you know? More of a
Well,
chance.
Turkey said no more Tom and Jerry. I don't expect him to run.
I mean, I don't expect him to run, but at the same time, it's boxing, you know? It's boxing, it's hit and don't get hit, swim and not get wet.
Is that what
you know?
Haney did when he fought Jose
No,
Ramirez?
but that's a different type of.
Is that what William Skoll did when he fought Canelo?
Yeah, I feel like it just comes. I feel like when you watch Bivol versus Betterby, the second fight, that's great boxing right there.
Some analysts have begun to question the substance of Canelo Alvarez's recent victories. Though the wins keep stacking up, many observers note that the aura of dominance from his peak has been replaced by tactical, grinding decisions, fights where physicality seemed to tip the scales rather than crisp, fluid boxing. Terence Crawford, by contrast, enters the conversation with a deeper technical toolbox. Switch hitting on command, creating sharp angles, managing distance, and adjusting pace are all hallmarks of his style. That versatility, coupled with a polished ring IQ, gives him the ability to set traps and dictate tempo against almost any opponent. Where Canelo's recent success has leaned heavily on size and punching authority, Crawford's multi-layered approach suggests pathways to neutralize brute strength. For that reason, many insiders quietly tilt toward Crawford, believing his skill diversity can offset and perhaps outshine Canelo's physical edge.
He knocks him the hell out. Canelo doesn't finish these guys, and he doesn't look good beating them. You know, shout out to the judges. The judges make Canelo look good for the past 6 fights. And so now we sit here, you know, what is Canelo gonna do against Crawford? And while some of you are saying, you know, domination and weight, really the only thing that I hear is his weight, his power, his weight, his power, his weight, his power. And that's all that he has. But when I get to talking about Crawford, we'll dive into that.
Well, to Byron's point, the last super quality fight that Canelo had was against Dimitri Bivol, and we all know what happened with that. You know,
no, I thought Caleb Plant was a good opponent.
Oh,
I thought Caleb Plant was a good opponent.
Well, it was Caleb Plant, then it was Bivol.
Right.
Plant, then Bivol.
Well, don't forget to point out that Bivol came down. Right?
No, that was 175.
Canelo went up.
Canelo went up.
So that kind of puts Canelo at a disadvantage, right? He tested.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to
tested
say
to be
that,
great.
if you want to say that,
I mean, you know,
I can.
But I mean, I'm not saying that that's an excuse for him for losing. I'm just saying, hey, you know, if you're gonna test yourself to be great, you gotta wear the consequence.
So let me ask. So no, you're right, 100%. But let me ask you a question. I'm just asking because I don't know. Like, so when you watching that fight, did you think it was a weight issue, or did you think it was more of a skill and boxing thing when watching that fight with Bivol and Canelo?
I thought he was outclassed.
I agree. Yeah, it was
outclassed,
and it looked like he was being outclassed by basic fundamental boxing.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So that was my point. That's what I'm trying. I don't think Bivol's weight had anything to do with him because Bivol's not a knockout artist.
And this legendary power that y'all speak of, this ass-taking Zeus god power that he has, it did not show in that fight.
Gabe Rosado says he's siding with Canelo Alvarez, mainly because Canelo has lived through countless high-stakes nights. From his early 20s onward, Canelo has been tested under blinding lights against elite names, developing a comfort level on boxing's biggest stages that few can match. Rosado respects Terence Crawford's craft, but reminds fans this would be Bud's first true mega event of this magnitude. When the spotlight is at its hottest, Rosado argues, composure and familiarity matter just as much as skill, and that history makes him trust Canelo to deliver.
I favor Canelo. Not by a lot, but I do favor him. I just think that, I think the skull fight was just a bad style. And I think Canelo was like, why force the issue? You know what I mean? I'm up. This guy's running. I'm not gonna take a chance. So I think that it was that kind of fight for Canelo. But Marjamov did give Crawford problems. You know what I'm saying? And where I felt like, damn, at 54, he gave you problems. 68 is different. You know what I'm saying? So you going up 3 weight classes because he was 47, 54, 60, 68. That's 3 weight classes. It's a major difference, man. And one thing is like, right, so people are saying Canelo has problems with movers. But the reality is Crawford's not a mover. Crawford's not a fighter that fights on his feet in the sense of boxing, kind of like, let's say, how a Pernell Whitaker would box or how Landy Lara would box. Crawford is a fighter that works on angles. He's not on his feet like Muhammad Ali. You know what I'm saying? He's not that kind of boxer. So he's going to be there to get hit, And I feel like that favors Canelo because Canelo's going to hit you in the arms. He's going to hit you in the elbows. He's going to hit anything you give him, he's going to take it. You know what I mean? And now is Crawford just going to switch his style and become a mover, moving up 3 weight classes? So now you're going to put all that weight on your legs and you never boxed like that before. How can you do that